The United States of America. The United States of America is made up of 50 states. There are 50 stars on the US flag representing the 50 states. The 13 stripes represent the 13 colonies that declared independence from the United Kingdom. 48 states are contiguous. Alaska lies in the northwest of North America, bordered by Canada to the east and across the Bering Straits from Russia to the west. Hawaii is an archipelago and lies in the mid-Pacific Ocean. The USA is a federal republic with a federal district, the District of Columbia, 5 major self-governing territories such as Guam, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, and the US Virgin Islands. Although Puerto Rico is an American self-governing territory, Puerto Ricans cannot vote in an American election. About 325 million people live in the United States. The capital city is Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. The geography. The Great Basin and deserts like the Chihuahua and the Mojave lie to the west. The Sierra Nevada and Cascade mountain ranges lie close to the Pacific Ocean. Alaska's Mount McKinley, now known as Denali, is the highest peak in North America at an elevation of 6,190 meters. There are active volcanoes in Alaska's Alexander and Aleutian Islands. Hawaii consists of volcanic islands. There is a supervolcano in the Rockies underlying the Yellowstone National Park. A supervolcano is one which has had an eruption of magnitude 8 on the Richter scale. Languages. In Hawaii, Hawaiian and English are the official languages. In Alaska, there are 20 native languages as well as English. New Mexico uses both English and Spanish, and Louisiana uses English and French, but neither state has an official language. California publishes some government documents in both Spanish and English. Law enforcement. Law enforcement is primarily the responsibility of the local police and the sheriff's department. The state police provide more services. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, and the U.S. Marshals Service protect civil rights, national security, and enforce federal laws. The United States locks up more people per capita than any other nation. Thousands of mainly African Americans and Latin Americans are sent to prison for an unpaid student loan, an unpaid water bill, or other federal offences. Capital punishment. There is capital punishment in 31 states. The majority of executions take place in Texas, Virginia, and Oklahoma. The convicted murderer is usually put to death by lethal injection, although the electric chair is also an option in some states. Poverty and the homeless. The figures show that in September 2017, 40 million people, roughly 12.7% of the US population, were living in poverty. 18.5 million of those people were living in deep poverty. There are thousands of homeless people living in tents, vehicles, or in doorways in Los Angeles. Some are drug addicts, some have mental health issues, and others have simply lost their jobs and have no income. About 1/3 of the homeless are African Americans. These homeless communities face disease and hygiene issues. The mole people. Mole people are those who live underground in the abandoned sewers, railroad, subway, or flood tunnels and heating shafts. In Las Vegas, there are estimated to be about 1,000 homeless people living underground to protect themselves from the extreme temperatures in winter and in summer. In Las Vegas lies in the Mojave Desert, and because of the surrounding mountains, there is heavy rain and flash flooding. To get rid of the excess water, there is a labyrinth of nearly 500 kilometers of storm sewers under Sin City. This is home to many homeless in Las Vegas, Sin City. They are subjected to muggings, disease, drowning, destruction of their meager possessions, and sometimes murder. Education. Children attend school from the age of 6 or 7 in kindergarten or first grade. High school includes grades 9, freshmen, grade 10, sophomores, grade 11, junior, grade 12, seniors. High school ends in 12th grade at the age of 18 or 16 or 17 in some states. Some children are homeschooled, which means that a parent teaches their children at home. Obesity. Approximately 1/3 of the adult population is obese and another third is overweight. There is an epidemic of type 2 diabetes related to obesity. Teenage pregnancy and abortion rates are substantially higher than in other Western nations, especially among blacks and Hispanics. The US president has ended the policy to protect nearly 800,000 young undocumented immigrants from deportation. DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is an immigration policy offering a path to legal residency for people who were brought illegally into the United States as children. It is unclear whether Dreamers, DACA, will be deported back to mainly the South African countries. They do not know. BLM, Black Lives Matter. This is an international activist movement. It originated in the African American community. It campaigns against violence and systematic racism towards black people. BLM regularly holds protests speaking out against police killings of black people. It protests against racial profiling, police brutality, and racial inequality in the United States criminal justice system. The movement began in 2013 with the use of the hashtag Black Lives Matter on social media after the acquittal of George Zimmerman in the shooting and death of the African American teen Trayvon Martin in I can't remember. Black Lives Matter became nationally recognized for its street demonstrations following the 2014 deaths of 2 African Americans, Michael Brown, resulting in protests and unrest in Ferguson, and Eric Gardner in New York City. Trayvon Martin in Florida. America's opioid crisis. Many doctors have overprescribed painkillers made from opium poppies to patients. This has caused the patients to become dependent on drugs, and as a consequence, patients become addicts and may lose their job. Turn to crime to get money to obtain more drugs, or turn to prostitution. Almost 1,100 people a day die from overdoses. Bye-bye.